Imagine waking up to an unexpected guest in your bedroom, a snake. Sounds like a nightmare, right? But for one man, this was his reality. Join us as we dive into a thrilling tale of survival and bravery. Before we go further, please ensure to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories like this one. As he slowly opened his eyes, the dim light of the morning crept in, and with it, a sense of unease that settled deep within his chest. At first, he thought it was just the remnants of a bad dream, but as his gaze swept across the room, he realized something was off. The bed sheets were tangled around his legs, and the blankets had slipped down to the foot of the bed, revealing a sliver of moonlight-kissed floor. That's when he saw it, a snake, coiled and still, its body blending seamlessly with the dark bedding. His heart skipped a beat as their eyes met, the snake's gaze piercing through the darkness like a shard of ice. For a moment, time froze. The world narrowed down to the two of them, locked in a silent, primal understanding. He felt his skin prickle with sweat as his mind struggled to comprehend the reality of the situation. How did it get here? Was it venomous? The question swirled in his head like a maelstrom, but his body remained paralyzed, trapped in a mixture of fear and fascination. The snake, however, didn't move. It simply watched him, its unblinking eyes seeming to absorb every detail of his presence. The air in the room felt thick and heavy, as if the snake's presence had somehow altered the very atmosphere. Slowly, as if not to provoke the snake, he began to slide out of bed, his movements cautious and deliberate. His eyes never left the snake, and his heart pounded in his chest like a drum. Every muscle in his body was tense, ready to spring into action at the slightest movement from the snake. But the snake remained still, its gaze fixed on him with an unnerving intensity. As he edged further away from the bed, his foot touched the floor, and he felt a slight chill run down his spine. He didn't dare look away from the snake to see where he was going, his senses heightened as he tried to put as much distance between himself and the reptilian intruder as possible. Finally, he reached the door, his hand trembling as he grasped the handle and pulled it open. The creak of the door seemed loud in the silence, but the snake didn't flinch. He slipped out into the hallway, the cooler air a welcome respite from the oppressive atmosphere of the bedroom. With shaking hands, he grabbed his phone from the nightstand in the hallway and dialed for help, his voice barely above a whisper as he explained the situation to the person on the other end. As he waited, his eyes darted towards the bedroom door, half expecting the snake to slither out and pursue him. But the door remained still, the snake's presence contained within the room. For a moment, he wondered if he'd imagined the whole thing, but the memory of those piercing eyes and the snake's motionless form told him otherwise. Help would arrive soon, and until then, he had to stay calm. The thought was a fragile thread of reassurance in a sea of fear, but it was enough to keep him grounded as he waited for rescue, his heart still racing with anticipation and dread. He felt a sense of relief wash over him as he realized that help was coming. He just had to stay safe until then. The operator's voice was soothing, guiding him through the process of staying safe until the snake handler arrived. He listened carefully, following her instructions to the letter. He moved away from the bedroom door, trying to put as much distance between himself and the snake as possible. As he waited, the silence seemed to stretch out before him like an endless highway. He felt like he was suspended in time, waiting for something to happen. But he knew that help was on the way, and that gave him a sense of hope. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart. He could hear the sound of sirens in the distance, growing louder with each passing moment. Help was almost here. He felt a wave of relief wash over him, followed by a sense of gratitude. He was going to be okay. The sirens grew louder, and soon he saw the flashing lights of the emergency vehicle outside his window. He felt a sense of reassurance, knowing that help had arrived. He opened the door to find a snake handler, dressed in protective gear, standing on his porch. The handler smiled reassuringly and nodded as he explained the situation. He felt a sense of trust wash over him, knowing that the handler was there to help. The handler carefully made his way to the bedroom, ready to face the snake and remove it from the premises. He watched as the handler disappeared into the bedroom, his heart still racing with fear. But he knew he was in good hands. The handler was a professional, and he would take care of the snake. He just had to wait and let the handler do his job. As he waited for the snake handler to remove the snake from his bedroom, the silence seemed to stretch out before him like an endless highway. He paced back and forth in the hallway, his eyes fixed on the bedroom door, his mind racing with thoughts of what could happen. Would the snake escape? Would the handler be able to catch it? He felt a sense of anxiety building inside him, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum. The minutes ticked by at a glacial pace, each one feeling like an eternity. He checked his watch for what felt like the 100th time, willing the minutes to pass faster. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was going to go wrong, that the snake was going to get away and he'd be left to deal with the consequences. But as he waited, he heard the sound of the handler's calm voice coming from the bedroom, talking softly to the snake as he worked to capture it. The sound was reassuring, and he felt a sense of trust wash over him. The handler was a professional, and he knew what he was doing. He just had to trust that everything would be okay. As he waited, he couldn't help but think about how he had ended up with a snake in his bedroom. Had it slithered in through a hole in the wall? Had someone brought it into the house as a prank? He didn't know, and at this point, he didn't care. He just wanted the snake gone, and his life back to normal. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the handler emerged from the bedroom, the snake safely contained in a special container. He felt a wave of relief wash over him, followed by a sense of gratitude. The handler smiled and nodded. "All taken care of," he said. "You're safe now." He nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. It was over. The snake was gone, and he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. The handler began to pack up his equipment, and he offered to help. Together, they worked efficiently to gather the gear and prepare to leave. As they worked, the handler asked him questions about the snake's presence in his bedroom, and he answered, still trying to process how the snake had ended up there. The handler listened attentively, nodding and making notes on his pad. When they finished, the handler thanked him for his cooperation and headed out the door, snake in tow. He watched as the handler loaded the snake into a special vehicle, designed to safely transport the reptile to a nearby wildlife center. He felt a sense of closure, knowing that the snake was being taken care of and would no longer pose a threat to him or his family. As the handler drove away, he took a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief wash over him. The ordeal was over, and he could finally relax. He closed the door and leaned against it, feeling a sense of gratitude towards the handler and the emergency services team. He knew that he had been lucky, and that the situation could have ended much worse. He took a moment to collect himself, reflecting on the unexpected encounter. He realized that sometimes life could take unexpected turns, and it was how he responded that mattered. He felt a sense of appreciation for the handler's professionalism and the emergency services team's prompt response. He knew that he had been in good hands, and that they had done their job efficiently and effectively. He felt his body begin to relax, his muscles releasing the tension that had built up during the ordeal. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath, and let the silence wash over him. He knew that he would be okay, that he would get through this. He felt a sense of resilience and determination, knowing that he could face whatever challenges came his way. He sat there for a while, enjoying the peacefulness of the room and the knowledge that he was safe. He knew that he would never forget this experience and that it would stay with him for a long time. But he also knew that he would move on and that life would go back to normal. He smiled to himself, feeling a sense of hope and renewal. The snake may have disrupted his life, but it had also reminded him of the importance of being prepared for the unexpected. He stood up, feeling a sense of resolve, and began to make his way to the kitchen to make a cup of tea. As he walked, he felt a sense of normalcy returning to his life. The snake may have been a surprise, but it was over now, and he could move on. And that's the story of how one man survived a snake in his bed. We hope you enjoyed this thrilling tale of bravery and quick thinking. If you're new here, consider subscribing to our channel for more exciting stories and adventures. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends and family who love a good thrill. Your support means the world to us. If you have any similar experiences or stories to share, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.